Good afternoon, you filthy apes. Welcome to AMC and ADD, where we buy, we hold, and we screw the hedgies. Screw the hedgies. I'd like to introduce to you today Tony Denaro. I reached out to Tony after a bunch of apes had said that they wanted me to interview him. Tony, being the busy guy that he is, with both his own business and his YouTube stream, he accepted graciously to come over and do this interview. I think what's important is that we get to know the people within our community, and for historical reference purposes, this is Tony's chance to go down in history books as being a part of his historical movement. More than anything, my hope is that you all have a chance to learn something from Tony today or in the future. Then, as a community, we probably have gained a couple wrinkles or two. Having said that, I'd like to give a warm welcome to Tony. Tony, welcome to the channel today.
AC, thank you so much. I've really enjoyed getting to listen to some of your channels, specifically while I was making that long drive on spring break just a couple weeks ago. I've heard good things about you prior to that, and been happy to get to know you a little bit better here recently. Thanks for having me on the channel.
And not a problem, man. Thanks for being a part of history. Tony, if you wouldn't mind, would you give us a brief history of how and when you first got into trading in the stock market?
Absolutely. So in college, my major was economics, and my minor was in finance and banking. I actually thought about in college for a while going up to New York and working on Wall Street. It's, back in those days, the movie Wall Street with Charlie Sheen and what's his name? You know who I'm talking about. That was a very popular movie. I've always been fascinated with money and investing. And as it turns out, I did not go to New York and work for Wall Street. I ended up in the high-tech industry here in Austin right out of college, actually before I even finished college. So I went down a different path, but I always have invested my own money. That's since the late 80s. And so I've been a trader now, not a day trader, but a trader of stocks and options for well over 30 years. And recently, having had a little bit more free time, I've been doing more day trading just for extra income and to keep myself busy. My businesses now are all home based, and it was just something easy to do. So that's my history of how long I've been trading, what I trade, and how I got here today in this play. I'm sure you might have some other questions specific to this play. So
Yeah. Do you consider yourself a GME or AMC ape? And if so, when did you first buy in? And what
that is
intrigued
a
you?
good question. So
What intrigued you to it too? I
what?
mean, ideally, I mean, you've been trading for a long time. There surely had to have been like a specific thing that you kind of latched onto. You're like, yeah, that's something I want to be a part of.
I always have watched plays that run up really quickly or have strong social sentiment. That's one of the key things that I look at when I'm analyzing a play. And I watched the GameStop thing happen. I watched it start to happen. I watched that first run up in GameStop. I'll be honest with you, I completely misjudged the community and how resolute they were in supporting that stock. And it ran up way beyond my own conservative estimates based on having seen these type of things before. And then it held. More importantly, it held after the run up. Not $304, $400 hold, but it held in over a couple $100. And these people did not walk away. And that really got my attention. That was something I'd not seen before. So I started digging into it more. I came across, obviously, AMC after that, came across couple of the OG gentlemen that were covering it. And I started listening to them and learning and doing my own research. And then I finally got in AMC just in time in May, the $7 or $8 range. And I've been in AMC heavy ever since then. In May, I bought stock and options in that run up in June. I did sell the options. I still have the shares. I've been adding them ever since, and I'm proud to say that I've added GameStop on dips since that point as well. So I own both, but I'm more heavily weighted in AMC.
But you do consider yourself an ape.
Absolutely.
All right. I had to hold you to it. I couldn't just say let you say get away with
I
saying
didn't
ape.
know that was the key phrase, but if we're looking for apes, I'm an AMC ape primarily, and
Awesome.
GameStop won by adoption.
Yeah. I was actually the other way around. I moved into GameStop at first and then moved into AMC after because I felt like I was a little late because I didn't invest into GME until the 28th, and so I realized I was a little late to the play, and so I moved my the rest of the position when I got it out of the positions I was previously in. I moved the rest of it into AMC, so it was a little backwards for me. So, but yeah, that's awesome, man. I'm glad to hear that. Uh,
Retrospect is everything. I wish I would have had the guts to go in the GameStop play. I just wasn't paying close enough attention to GameStop. Obviously, I'm fully up to speed on it now, but in those critical early days before it ran, I wasn't watching it that close. I just knew of it. I said, well, let me see what happens. And man, it blew me away.
do you think that it had to do with social media as because you said you keyed in on the idea that there was a different resolve in what was going on with retail, and I know this isn't a question that I had previously picked out for you, but do you think just I mean it should be a quick answer, yes or no? Do you think that social media was the big key in factor that made a difference in this play?
100%.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Twitter, Reddit, YouTube, absolutely.
yeah. So I've talked on my show about knowing your five whys for being a part of the ape community. What would you say would be your reasons for being a part of the community? Maybe like your five whys. What do you think your five whys are?
Yeah, I thought about that question because you sent me that one in advance, and I don't know if I came up with five, but I'll tell you what I did think about, and maybe we'll stumble across a fifth one. The very primary first reason that I got in this play was obviously as an investor, I'm looking for a profit with a reasonable risk to reward ratio. And that's what, when I saw what happened with GameStop and I saw the potential lining up with AMC, it seemed like a very decent play to me in that May timeframe when I was looking at it. I still wasn't 100% certain, but enough to get an established position and add some options on top of that. The second reason that I'm in this place still and now, besides thinking that maybe that's my second why that I didn't write down. My second why is I think there is still additional squeeze potential for both AMC and GameStop. The reason I got more heavily involved in this community was out of frustration, to be honest.
Hmm.
Frustration at watching the YouTubers that were covering it during that time being relatively new to the market,
Hmm.
maybe making some assumptions based on lack of experience. They had energy and drive and charisma in spades. They're good on camera and they brought people into this play, but there were just things as I was watching them back in May and June before and after the AMC run up, I was just like pulling through my screen like, we can do better. That's not right. There's a little tweak to the information that could make everybody feel better about this.
Hmm.
So that frustration is what got me starting to participate more in the community and eventually turn the camera on. Um, Now, why am I still in it? Also for education. I'm not an ex Wall Street guy. I was never a finance teacher, but I've read a library's worth of books. None recently, maybe some on dark pools and stuff recently. I've read volumes and volumes of books besides my education on stock trading and options trading. And I like to share that knowledge. In fact, back in the day when I was Speaking of education, when I was at my corporate job, I even started a an investment club. I don't know if you're familiar with those. They used to be popular
I do.
back in the 90s, where you have a group of friends and you all sit down and talk about different stocks. We actually set up a registered investment club, and I was the only one that really knew anything about stock trading. But these were all my employees and my coworkers. They wanted to learn, so I taught them, and we all talked things through and made group investments. When it finally disbanded, everybody walked away with a profit. Uh, so I enjoy education, and so that's one reason that I'm still in this play, to see, to help people out. And the final thing that I wrote down is one unexpected reason, something that I never really foresaw, was the camaraderie and the friendship. Like people such as yourself or the Massalorian, Froggy Styles, Pantheon, a host of people. I can't even name them all. That I never expected that I'd have so much in common with, that I enjoy talking to on camera and off camera, and the hundreds or even, maybe thousands of friends and acquaintances that I've met through Twitter and more so through YouTube that hang out with me every day. And I really, really enjoy. Uh, it's lonely working on your own business at home or day trading by yourself. And this has added a whole nother level of enjoyment to it for me.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, I think community goes well beyond just this play. I personally feel like I have, in a way, family. I call us coworkers and family members now. Um, and I really, I tend to think, or I like to think, that after this is all said and done, that we're going to be attached to each other in a way that we wouldn't probably have thought about in advance. And we're going to need each other um, after this is all said and done to avoid some pitfalls in the futures, uh, in our future.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so I really think that part of building this community now moves a step further and beyond and says, what can we achieve after this is done, or what can we do to protect ourselves and enrich our lives further beyond this? Not just how can I make more money? That's not really what it's about, but how can I, as a community, build this to something bigger and better and uh, expand on that community basically. So I like
I,
that.
I look at it almost I look at it almost as like our own little brain trust. Like no one person knows everything, but together we're stronger. We have different viewpoints. Some people are bullish on one stock, some people are bearish, some people are bullish but have different price points. It's the best thing to do is talk with people that you trust, that know what they're talking about, and challenge your own beliefs so that you can make smarter decisions. So
Yeah,
that's been one of the added benefits for me, is to have reasonable people I can share ideas and bounce things off of and learn things from.
yeah, I agree. Do you think a squeeze is possible, and what conditions are you looking for that you feel are great indicators that we're close? And I say that on the precipice of us just finding out last night that there's some very exciting things happening. So it almost seems like kind of a pointless question to ask. But do you think a squeeze is possible?
Yeah, I still get asked that, dozens of times per day,
Me
every
too.
day. I do think that an additional squeeze is possible both on GameStop and AMC, because short interest is still relatively high. The short interest that we know about being over 20%, that's one of my criteria. Utilization being high, the stock being hard to borrow, makes me think that the potential is there for a squeeze. What are we lacking? We're lacking what I call and have always called the unknown catalyst.
Mm,
And you saw a glimpse of that yesterday. Power of an unknown catalyst with the GameStop stock split announcement. You saw a catalyst, an unknown catalyst. I define that as something that comes out of the blue that no one was expecting, gets these hedge funds off guard. Saw that with AMC, with Highcroft Mining, and there's more to come with AMC, I'm certain, while we're waiting on the fundamentals to improve. So yes, a squeeze is possible.
When did you first start? I actually don't know the answer to this. I didn't, normally I do a lot of kind of research on everybody that I interview, but I decided I wanted to ask you this question and just let you answer it. When did you first start your YouTube channel, and what gave you the idea in the first place to start the YouTube channel? And is it something that you enjoy?
Yeah, so I started probably right around the first week of July, maybe the last week in June when we got back from our vacation. We did a little vacation in the Smoky Mountains late June. I had ordered all the equipment right before we left and set it up. And pretty much when I came back on that vacation, I started making videos. And um, was there a why in there? Why did I start it?
Yeah, no, do you enjoy it? Is it something that you really enjoy? Like, is this something you're going to continue to do after the squeeze is over, or is it something that you're going to walk away from?
Yeah, so when I decided to buy the equipment, a camera and some lights and a microphone to do the channel, I told Scarlett, I said, I'm gonna do this for a year. And if people are tuning in and if I'm providing value, then I'll keep doing it. I said, so I told her, you gotta give me a little patience while I try and build this channel as fast as I can in a year. My goal was to get, 10,000 people within a year. That was kind of like the pencil in. If I could have 10,000 people that were interested in listening, then I would keep going after a year.
Hmm.
So we hit that somewhere around the 6 month mark. So it's safe to say I will be here after the MOASS, AMC, and GameStop. What I laid out for myself that I'd want to talk about has never been one stock. So many things that I've done that I think I can help people uh, bootstrap themselves, jumpstart their learning, minimize mistakes. And I'm already going to be here still day trading after this place, still working on my own stuff. It's very easy for me to continue doing YouTube. I enjoy it absolutely, way more than I thought I would. And I'll be talking about entrepreneurship. I've owned quite a few different businesses, some that I didn't end up starting because I figured out that they weren't going to work or make me the profit that I wanted. Some that are doing successful, some that have failed. I've done real estate investing, duplexes, houses, raw land, looking into buying apartments. So I have knowledge in that area that I'd like to talk with people about, and then get more into crypto, day trading, cryptos, and day trading stocks and future topics when we have time. Right now, it's just almost all consuming to keep up with the AMC stuff. So I have not really had time to get into those, even though they're all super interesting to me.
Yeah. I've kind of got some questions that are rolling in here, and I'd kind of like to just kind of throw them in here because they kind of do relate to some of the questions I'm asking. If you want to
Sure.
if you want to answer these, if you don't want to answer them, just let me know. But I've got one from Edward Alex. He says, Tony, what do you think? And it's okay to not answer these. You can just say I'd prefer to skip, and we can skip it. But Tony, Edward says, Tony, why do you think AMC won't hang around 100, 200 level like GME? What's different?
I don't know that the fundamentals of AMC would enable it to just hang out for weeks or months at 200 bucks. I think GameStop is that high because of the lower float.
Hmm.
Um, and when a squeeze happens, it could easily run through 200 bucks. But I think Edward was in my chat earlier asking a similar question, and I said I think that the squeeze on AMC or GameStop from its initiation, the real launch to the peak back down will all happen within a couple days. That's just my opinion, my guess. I could be wrong. I've heard all sorts of ranges. I think it'll be fast up and then fast back down.
Yeah. I kind of already asked you the next part of this question, which is what are your plans for your YouTube channel after MOASS? And it sounds like you're going to continue on with much more broader perspectives in other areas that you can help people out. But in general, what are your post MOASS plans, I guess, besides YouTube? Do you have anything specifically that you wanted to kind of cover after post MOASS?
Well, I'm a workaholic, so I'm not going to go on permanent vacation after MOASS, whether it's 10,000, 100,000, or $10 million. I'm not going to stop working. I'm not going to stop the YouTube channel. I have ongoing businesses that I'll still be working on. But if this play were to throw off enough cash, kind of like our dream plan is move out of the suburbs and buy some ranch land outside the city. Scarlett's a big lover of animals, and she would like to have enough space to have whatever animal she wants: horse, goats, more chickens, whatever. And I'd like to have a little more land also. I enjoy living where we're at. We're right close to downtown, not in downtown, but maybe we'll do it. If we do that, we'll add some YouTube content on building out the ranch. Other than that, it's just going to be maybe a vacation or two and then back to the grind. And I enjoy the grind. I'm not the type of person to sit around and do nothing.
Um, so just to let you know, first off, I don't even live that far out, and I've got no land, but you might want to consider internet, because let me just tell you, it sucks way out where I'm at here, and I'm just in uh, I think they call it a something terrestrial land area or something. I forget what they call it, but it's kind of like one of those
It's,
weird.
that
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's been one of my biggest fears. Like, am I going to have to like rent a studio in town with high-speed internet and drive to it every day to YouTube? Or I don't know. That's a bridge we'll cross when we come to it.
So tell me,
Definitely a valid concern.
Bluebell or uh, Ben and Jerry's?
Oh man, tough question. I'm all look. I like Bluebell. I value everything that they have done for Texas. I love the flavors, especially just a good old Bluebell vanilla.
Hmm.
Scarlett buys them all the time. In fact, we just had 2 pints of Bluebell vanilla in the fridge. But I'm also about natural ingredients. I don't like that some of their products, maybe all of them, have fillers in them. So
I've got somebody in here that
if
says,
ice cream could have milk, cream, and sugar, and that was the only thing on the ingredients, that'd be primo for me.
for those of you who don't know, Bluebell ice cream here in Texas, I actually don't know where they serve it to, but here in Texas, Bluebell ice cream is by far probably one of the most superior. I've been all over this country, and one of the most superior ice creams I've ever had in my entire life. Um, but I'm seeing, I don't know if you're seeing this in the comment box here, but it says Lou versus Wall Street. You will hear from my lawyers. You're getting the Lou treatment from me now on your. What the heck is this? That can't be for real. That's weird.
I did a April Fool's video today. Maybe it's some reference to that. I did a apology to Lou video. Lou was right.
Lou was right? What?
Well, it was a April
Oh,
Fool's.
you got me. Holy crap. I was like, Lou is right. What? You just got
Yes,
me
it,
there
it
in that
was
moment.
titled uh, it was titled Lou is right. Tony Denaro's apology video. Y'all need to go watch that after this and
Oh,
give me your thoughts.
whew, my heart just skipped a beat there for a second, Tony. I was like, you said Lou. I was like, wait a minute. No, you didn't. Oh man. Okay.
I don't
Well,
like to pick on Lou, but I asked the community yesterday for some good titles, possible titles like MOASS imminent, why AMC could hit 1 million, And somehow we, as a group, stumbled upon Lou was right. And I just loved that one. I figured it was least harmful of all the potential thumbnails that we discussed.
Well, you certainly got me on that one. Hopefully this isn't the real Lou here. He's threatening lawyers on you. I don't, whatever. Anyways, moving on. Uh, what are your plans? Oh, sorry, I already asked you that one. First, that threw me off. First, do you think the market is stable? Do you think that our market is currently stable?
Um, Stable, no. Being with a background in economics, I was telling people on my channel back in November to start taking some money off the table, lock in some profits, put some portion of your portfolio in cash so that when the inevitable downturn happened, that you had dry powder. And so that's what I started doing at the end of last year. I think that this entire year, 2022, is probably going to suck. Maybe we can catch some tailwind at the end of the year, but with inflation, interest rates, and China supply chain, it was already looking crappy. Now we have Russia, Ukraine on top of it. I would not call this a stable economy, a stable US, a stable global economy, or a stable Wall Street. And I'm playing it very cautiously on my day trading and swing trading right now.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. So what kind of effects? I mean, I understand you're saying that you're going to be very cautious right now, but in the future, like let's say we went into like a bearish trend in the market, and it was over several years period of time. Perhaps maybe you remember after like 2001 or maybe even 2008 for a brief period of time, we had a bearish market. What kind of trading styles or changes would you make to your trading in order for you to be successful through a bearish market?
So, first of all, I think that if you are fairly certain that a severe bear market is right around the corner, you should be thinking about index puts. If you think a massive sell-off is coming. So, the last time I actually did that was buying puts on the Dow back in February of 2020 when I was watching what was going on in China and everybody here saying it's fine, not going to affect us in the US. My spidey sense went up that people were minimizing something that could be really, really bad. I bought index puts at that time, and those ended up paying off pretty handsomely into the end of March. If you are convinced that the market is going to crash, you should be looking at index puts to protect yourself and make some money on the downturn. I have not bought any index puts at this time. So I'm uncertain what is going to happen exactly in our market this year. If we were to go into a protracted downturn where things are just flat to bearish for a year or two, I'd be taking any side income that I have thrown off and free from my businesses to be buying crypto and stocks that I like on a dip and just be patient. Because one thing that I've learned is the market doesn't always work on our timeline, but if you have the money put in on the dips, then ultimately, with the right amount of patience, that ends up being rewarded. And those big rips come sometimes out of nowhere. So load up while you can on the downturns. Don't go all in on the day that you think you found the bottom, though, because there could be another bottom just waiting, another downturn. So
Hmm.
I try and establish a position on a down, on a dip, and if it goes down another 10%, whatever equity or crypto we're talking about, I buy a little more, and so on and so on.
That sounds like great advice. Ignore the people behind me. They're just coming home from school. Um, I can't help it. I got kids. They're gonna come in.
No
So
worries, no worries.
and also I want to tell you here. you said patience. Patience was one of the things that I kind of keyed in on. Uh, Tony, you have patience. I know you do. Because, and I'm just going to go ahead and say it right now, the Lou that came in here and said the things that he said was supposed to be an April Fool's joke on you, and you didn't bite. April Fool's, Tony. That was supposed to be funny, and you didn't bite because you got patience and you got calm. You're cool and collected. Congratulations on passing the April Fool's test. uh, that
Yeah,
is,
after everything I've been through on YouTube in the last 9 months, you learn to every day. It's a learning opportunity to improve your patience even more.
yeah.
Glad I passed. Can't read your chat. I can't read the chat that you have on there because it's so fuzzy. So I was just taking you at your word.
Oh, okay. Maybe if you could have read it, it would have been more. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so let's see. From your perspective, no wrong answers here. How do you feel about share dilution?
About dilution,
Yeah, if Adam Aaron were to ask us if we wanted to do a share dilution of AMC, how would you feel about that?
I can tell you with 100% certainty right now, looking at the money they have in the bank, if he just came up and said, we need more dilution, we need more cash, in the next quarter or two, I would be 100% against it. I'm not a fan of more dilution as long as they have enough cash. Now, if we're a year from now down the road and they've spent 80% of the cash that they have and they need it for debt covenants, they got to have a certain amount of cash. If they need it, then I'll consider it if a good case is made. Or if there was a case made that we want to issue additional shares for a stock split or a stock dividend, as we just saw with GameStop, I might consider that. But if you just ask me right now, no, not for dilution.
Hmm. There's been kind of like a talk recently on Twitter at least that share dilution can help kick this thing up. Some people have mentioned that in order to really kind of get the price to rise, much like it did with Tesla, that share dilution is something that we need to have. My argument against it is yeah, well, there's a little bit of difference between share dilution that Tesla did and what AMC has done in the past, which is large quantities versus small injections, and also the owner, the CEO, owning a huge chunk of the company makes a big difference as well. But I think I stand with you. Not I think I know I stand with you on no share dilution. I do understand the perspective that small incremental injections of shares into the market could help boost the price a little bit at a time, but at the same time, I'm not. I'm just not there yet. I don't think that we need it.
I've read some of those articles and I'm open to having my mind changed. If someone who is passionate about it got on live with me and wanted to have a discussion and state their case, I'm certainly open to hearing the other side from someone who can intelligently talk about it and learn from them a little bit more about their position. So I'm open to discussion on it. But if you ask me my opinion right now, I'm not convinced.
Yeah, yeah. I'm actually the same exact way. I really think that discussion is probably one of the key things that we should be holding as a high. We should be holding it to a high standard as discussion because we're charting in territories where retail has never been before. Um, we really don't have to do anything besides buy and hold, in my opinion. But there are things that we could do to help in the long run. But you really have to understand the full big picture of what it is that's going to happen when you do something because it changes everything. So if you look at it from different perspectives and have a intellectual talk about what it is that you're thinking is going to help the movement, I'm definitely all for it too. Um, what do you think are market indicators that you're going to be looking at to help you decide when to sell? And of course, um, if you feel like that's giving away too much information, you don't have to answer the question.
Yeah, I wish I had a magic answer for that. I used to think I'm just going to watch Ortex, and if I see that the shorts are covering, then I'll know. But subsequent to that thought, I found out that Ortex return shares are a T plus two. If my theory that the squeeze is going to happen in 2 days is ends up being correct, well then Vortex is not really going to help me, is it?
Mm-mm.
Might tell me might tell me after the fact that a bunch of shorts covered. It's not going to help me in the moment. So I'm going to be looking at it like I do with any other squeeze play or day trading play that's running up, and be using a variety of intervals, 1 minute, 5 minute, hourly, watching the price action and the volume. I mean, and technical indicators. I don't really know what else to do. And thankfully, I have the luxury of having a fairly large amount of shares where I don't have to just wait and hope. I can sell them in different brackets that I won't talk about,
Mm.
because that's just a rule on my channel. But I'll be able to sell them in different brackets and hopefully along the way extract maximum reasonable profit with reasonable risk. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
High risk would be rolling everything for broke and hoping you catch it at the top. I'm a little more cautious than that. So I'll be selling some along the way and trying to hold as many as I can for the maximum top, but I don't think I'll catch the top. That
Yeah.
is very, very difficult.
Yeah. I agree. I did a bunch of modeling of GME and tried to figure out if there was a way that you could figure out where the top was, and that included me living through minute by minute what it was like to live through the GME run. And there's there's nothing specifically that jumps out at me that something that tells you, oh yeah, here's the top, which is kind of discouraging a little bit to a lot of people, but there are indicators. But I kind of missed a question here. I'm going to loop back to it a little bit and say, what do you think is the number one thing that Adam Aaron could do to strengthen the fundamentals of AMC?
Release a AMC specific crypto coin, not tied to dividend stocks, just an AMC crypto coin, which we have affectionately named Popcoin on my channel. I've learned since then that Popcoin is taken, or the ticker symbol POP is taken in the crypto markets.
Yeah, it
But
is.
I've made a case on a couple videos and on Twitter, and Adam Aarons talked about doing an AMC crypto coin several times now. So this isn't just a pipe dream, and I know they're looking into it. But if I give you the 30-second synopsis of why I think that is the easiest game changer that he could do. If he was to release a crypto coin where, you know how founders of a crypto coin often hold back a certain amount of coin in their own wallet,
Hmm.
he releases the rest into the market. It gets bought up like any crypto coin. You can use it like Shiba or Doge to buy tickets or snacks at AMC Theater. So it has real world utility. Theoretically, you'd get price appreciation of that coin, just like any other crypto coin that's legit, token, whatever word you want to use. I don't want to get caught up in semantics. Uh, as that coin value is getting pushed up in the market, the crypto markets, well, whatever AMC is holding back, that is also gaining value. And if it were to gain 100 million or a billion or 2 billion in value, that's essentially free money they could use to pay off their debt or pay down their debt or fund expansions, whatever they choose to use it for as they sell their wallet into the open market. Yes, that would be dilution of the crypto coin, but you get cash for the company and you don't have to ask the stockholders for permission to dilute with more stock shares. So improve fundamentals, no dilution. I like the idea. I hope he's considering it. It'd be a great unknown catalyst.
Yeah, and I don't think any other company's ever done anything like that before. So it would be, well, actually, no way. I take that back. Did they do a crypto? No, there is no other cryptocurrencies for any other company, right? Not that I'm aware
Not that
of.
I'm aware of, and I honestly don't know why more people aren't doing it.
Yeah. So there was a question here from Peter Kwan. He said, "What about option play? Seems like the hedgies are getting a lot of money from option play this week as well. Is this delaying the MOASS? Do you think that's a valid point?"
I've Yeah, that's a great question. I've been mostly against people spending money on options. I've had some great spirited discussions with people, and I understand it's a very uh, team A or team B discussion. And again, I'm happy to have those discussions with someone who's passionately for options. I think maybe like Marcel, Boss Blunts, he and I could have a great back and forth discussion on that where I could learn from him and vice versa. But so I'm not opposed to changing my viewpoint, but right now I think that spending money on shares should be everybody's main focus. And if you want to allocate a little bit more for options, I have no problem with that. I don't advocate for it. I did buy some recently and it dropped down into the $15 range because that seemed like almost a slam dunk to me. I bought some April $20 calls, very close to the current price of the stock. And then I rolled them to May to give myself a little bit extra room after nothing happened for 2 weeks. Right when I bought them, nothing happened. And you want to be high up on that data curve so you don't run your option value down theta decay. So buy them far out. Don't buy the ones that are expiring in 2 days. And if the price isn't going where you want, well, just roll them another month out. Eventually, you'll be right. Uh, so my general recommendation, if you're going to buy options, buy them far out and buy them close to the strike price. So you have a greater chance of winning. If you're just gambling on short-term options, high strike price, I think you'd be better off, just my opinion, putting that money in shares of stock. Ultimately, the more of us are diamond handing shares, that is the strongest catalyst to make the stock squeeze.
I think one of the
Options
things,
is just a bonus.
yeah, yeah, I'm kind of along the same lines there. One of the things that I've said on my show is like, if you find you're playing the options and you're winning like 80% of the time, that's great. But I feel like the general investor um, may not have enough experience uh, trading options, and so therefore it makes it really tricky in this play to win with AMC positions in options. And so therefore, why just hand money straight over to the people who we don't want to hand money over to? Because I really do believe that if there's a I do believe that the market will is there to make money, and if there's a gamma that can happen, the market will make the gamma happen. I really believe it because I mean, if you look at the options that are stacking up, that's not all retail. A lot of those options plays that are occurring is the market making those plays. And part of the reason that I would argue against options is you watch how close we closed to max pain. What did we close at today? 23.30. It was 30 cents above max pain. You see it happen so often, and it's just kind of one of those things where it's like, well, somebody's making money on that. Who is it? And if they are making money on it, uh, those, you know, it leads me to believe that there's a reason they're trying to make money off of it. So should we continue to play into that, or should we not play into it? And so, yeah, I definitely think there's
Yeah, I
two
mean,
sides to it.
if Susquehanna and Citadel are two of the options market makers, and they're also some of the biggest shorts of our stock. So make money selling you options that never pay out. So you're funding them buying those options if they're the ones selling it to you, and you're draining money away that could have been applied towards diamond-handed shares. So that's why, unless the setup is really really good, I'm not advocating options under $20. There are times where things line up like this is pretty good risk reward setup at that point. but not, I didn't buy $50 strikes. I bought $20 strikes right after it went under 20 bucks. Yeah, they're a little more expensive, but I made 300 or 400% in a couple weeks with those when it ran up to $30.
Yeah, that was a great play. Are you a big fan of VWAP and MACD, or do you have other indicators that you use in conjunction with, or as alternatives to those commonly used market indicators?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Big fan of them. I don't know if I mean, I use them for analysis. They're part of my toolkit. I don't know if big fan would be right phrase. I'm not against them. I do use them, but I use them in combination with several different indicators, and that has been evolving over time. I think as I'm looking at day trades or long-term analysis of a stock on an hourly or daily, look at mostly the candles on the chart with a short-term and a long-term moving average or EMA. So like a 60-day and then either a 120 or 200-day moving average. If I'm uh, if I'm looking at day trading, I'll add in RSI, MACD, and what was the other one that you mentioned? VWAP.
Yes, VWAP.
Yeah, I'll add those in just to get some more granularity on making decisions on a smaller time interval. And I learned through watching these charts 8 hours a day for the last couple of years now, day trading, that initially what I was using, the very small set stuff that I was using was not enough. So I've been adding these other indicators. Maybe, for someone who's an experienced day trader, it's like, oh, well, that's common sense. But, I didn't start out with someone teaching me how to do it. It's just been school of hard knocks and experimenting along the way. So I use VWAP 60 and one of the long-term moving averages in combination with RSI and MACD. And of course, some volume analysis also.
So I know you just listed off like a whole bunch of different ones there. Is there one particular undervalued market indicator that you don't really normally talk about, or is something that you would love to teach people about that you think that people just don't know enough about?
I wish that I had something. When you sent that question over, I was like, man, I wish I had some exotic market indicator to tell people about. And I see people do videos on technical analysis with other indicators, or maybe they do one video on a new one they discovered that they're really excited about. I don't have anything like that, unfortunately, to share with you. What I have been using, the ones that I just got through, are some of the ones I've learned uh, work really good for me, and I've seen other day traders that are super successful just using those basics. And if it works, and I don't really have a need to have anything else more exotic. So no, unfortunately, I don't have anything new or exciting to advocate to you as far as technical analysis
Not a problem. Is
or
there, what
or any
about,
special indicators.
is there like any specific website? Because I know I get asked this question a lot, like a specific book or website that I would use for trading indicators that you would recommend instead of that?
I don't know. I have I start my day every day. I start my day every day looking at, like, in pre-market, what are the top gainers.
Hmm.
I quickly try and quickly try and see what news is driving those gainers, and then apply experience to that news. Like, okay, is this news that's going to cause a pop and a drop at open, pop in pre-market and drop at open? Is this news that is going to carry throughout the day or for days on end. And that is more, I think, of the fine art that comes with experience. And a lot of people really get mad at me when I say, this thing's not going to last or this is going to break down. But that is based on me watching these type of plays and news events and runners hundreds and hundreds, thousands of times. You get, I'm not always right, but you get a sense for how something's going to go. And so that's what I share. It's not always popular opinion. I just share what I know and what I think.
That's great. I've got a couple
I
questions
don't
here.
have a special day trading. I don't have a special day trading book or website to refer you to, unfortunately.
Oh, that's all right. I've got a couple of questions from the community here, and I'm going to actually open the questions to the community for anybody who wants to ask any questions. I'm kind of wrapping up the interview here. I do have a question from James of Arizona. He says, Tony, what's your thought on the itchy? He actually said itchy booger cloud. We renamed an indicator that I look at. It's actually considered. It's called the Ichimoku Cloud. I'm not sure if you're aware of that indicator, but that's the one he's talking about. How do you feel about that one?
The first time that I actually even heard of it was when you were talking about it on a live or maybe a collab in the last couple of weeks. So I Googled it. I haven't looked in depth at it, but it's on my list. Look, one thing about me is if I hear about something that I have never heard of before, whether it's a regulation or a technical indicator or whatever, a new word, I want to go learn it and learn about it. So that is on my list. I could not talk intelligently about it today. I literally just heard about it, wrote it down in my little notepad for one day when I have free time to go look into.
Dr.
If
Zeno,
Casey Shaw is talking about it, then I need to go look into it.
no, no, please. Dr. Zeno wanted to throw out a shout out to you. He said, I've been watching, he's been watching you for, what did he say? He's been watching for many months. He said, Tony is 110% legit. There's definitely people who are totally pro Tony. So, and actually, one of my moderators asked a question. And I think you kind of answered most of it. But how do you decide what stocks to trade? Screeners? What criteria are you looking for? And I think you pretty much already kind of covered that with the whole daily runners and um, those kind of things. I mean,
Yeah, I didn't talk about this, but I'll share with you kind of like my overall portfolio setup without going into specifics. So last year, 2021, I was 90% stocks, 10% crypto. This year, I decided to go about 20% crypto and 80% stocks. So I've been building my crypto bags, and I'm going to be talking about more cryptos as I find new ones that I want to buy. But as far as stocks go, I'm trying to have a pretty broad portfolio. So I've got basics like Apple, Tesla, big companies. I'm looking for high growth stocks mostly. So I don't have a lot of energy stocks or stable dividend stocks currently in the portfolio. I have in the past. I'm looking at adding some Amazon. Um, I have a fair amount of what I call recovery plays like Royal Caribbean and Wynn Casino. I was able to buy them when they were beaten down, and I'm very patient. Like I said, I'll wait for them to recover. Then I have some more edgy plays, riskier small cap stocks. Then I have my small percentage that is for day trading and riskier plays like AMC. Risky being I don't typically invest in companies that have no earnings. So AMC is a departure from my norm. I'm always looking for companies that are sloping from the bottom left to the top right, stacking up increasing revenues and positive earnings. And if it doesn't meet that criteria, then I'm gonna really, really think about it. It's not gonna be a automatic contender for my portfolio if the chart is sloping down, they have a history of negative earnings. I'm really going to look at those critically before I decide to buy them. It doesn't mean I won't buy them. They better have some reason that I think that they're going to have a turnaround or a pop. Pop is fine too. Even if it's a few days, we'll play it.
Edward Alex is asking, and this is kind of, in my opinion, a little bit of a weird question, but because I think, when you ask yourself how many lottery tickets would you like to have, and when you know every single one's a winner, the question is what's a good amount of AMC shares for MOASS? So, in my opinion, and I'm
Woo!
just throwing that out there. In my opinion, every lottery ticket that's a payout is a good lottery ticket to have. So, but I do have a caveat to that is that never spend more than you're willing to not see in money as far as seeing that money in the foreseeable future. But what's your take on it?
Yeah, I mean that's such a personal question because everybody's finances are different, everybody's portfolio is different, everybody's risk tolerance is different. And so it really comes down to your own personality. I mean, if let's just say you were 100% in AMC, whether you had 10, 100, 1,000, 5,000 shares, could you sleep at night knowing that all of your investment money is tied up in, and let's not mince words. This is still a high risk play. No one knows for sure what's going to happen. We're weighing the risk to reward and we feel pretty good about it. It's my single biggest play. So obviously I feel pretty good about it, but I'm one of those people that I can go to sleep every night knowing that my entire net worth is not tied up in one company. So you got to ask yourself that first. How's your psychology? And are you risking more than you could sleep with at night?
Hmm.
If you can't sleep, if you're spending every day worried, you probably got too much in one play.
Hmm. Um, Again, Adam, I think Adam may have came a little late to the interview, but he said, where do you plan on moving your money during a bear market? Short-term holding or long-term holds?
During a bear market,
Yeah.
I'm not making any changes in my portfolio. So the only thing I'm doing, if the bear market lasts 6 months or 2 years, one that I say basically started, around Christmas, the only thing I'm going to be doing is adding new positions on dips or adding to existing positions. And then I'll wait it out. I mean, the best time to buy is in a bear market. As long as you're buying with money you don't need in the foreseeable future. Don't invest more money in crypto and stocks. You should be doing everything I think to lower your spending habits in life, get your budget under control, and increase your income. I worked my younger years 2 or 3 jobs. I still have multiple jobs, multiple businesses.
Hmm.
And anything that is thrown off extra after you've paid your bills should be going into some sort of investment, but make sure it's the extra so you can sleep and you're not counting on it tomorrow or next month or next year. That gives you this infinite amount of patience that I have in this play because however long it takes, I'm good.
Well, I think that's great. I think that's a perfect note to end that on. There was Watcher 2000 had a quick question. I'm just going to throw this one out here. I'm not even really sure who this is, but I've never heard of Media Drays. Have you heard of Media Drays before? I've never heard of Media
What
Drays.
is that, a person or a YouTube channel
It
or
must be a
what?
YouTube channel. They're saying, I think you both have seen Media Dre's AMC hype video. Question: would you want to be in one of his videos? Have you reached out to Media Dre? Oh, the hype videos. Some of the music videos that I think that they have that are out there from Media Dre. Would you want to be a part of being in one of those? Like some, where I think
You
the,
know,
the
I'm
ones where like Trey's like shouting out like "Let's go!" Like, would you want to be in one of those videos?
I'd be flattered to be in one. I haven't reached out to anybody. The way I look at it, at some point, if I'm providing value to people and someone thinks that I'm worth including, then I'd be honored to be in any hype video. We lovingly call my channel the official low energy channel covering AMC. So I don't know. I might have to stage a super high energy moment that is hype video worthy. But yes, that'd be fine with me.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, let's see here. Well, I guess what I want to say is thank you, Tony, for taking your valuable time and donating it to this community for us to get to know you. As a YouTube personality, sometimes we kind of get caught up in our streams and we forget to tell our personal story. My view here is I'm here to document history, and you've just gone down in the history book, sir. Do you have any last comments that you wanted to make for those who see this in the future?
Thank you for having me on. Last comments, guys, my whole intention is to give you one more perspective. Listen to different people, people that you can trust, people that are doing real due diligence. It's okay. It, not everyone's going to have the same opinion about a stock or a crypto. Might all have different buy-in or sell points. It's important for you to have a set of people that you can trust and then filter through those and challenge your own thoughts. Don't be afraid to challenge yourself. That's how you ensure that your conviction is correct, by listening to different viewpoints.
Hmm. I have a favorite quote that I repeat over and over and over and over, Tony, and I think you exemplify this more than anything, especially in what you just said at the very end. And it's a quote from somebody in NASA, which I can't remember the specific name, and I wish I could quote who it was exactly. But the quote says, um, "Differing opinions is not a problem. It's an opportunity for us to learn." So, and I think that exemplifies exactly who you are as a person, what you stand for, knowledge, truth. Those are good things, and I value those personally
Great quote.
myself. But thank you again for coming on, Tony. And it is that time of the day, guys. Eat, sleep, drink, get plenty of rest. This is a weekend, and we're moving into an exciting week next week, I think. Spend time with your family, spend time with your friends, spend time with your pets. Get out and do something this weekend. Refresh your brain. Make sure that you're healthy in the head. But above